Hello everyone, how you going? And welcome back to Awfultastebutgreatexecution, the place that just makes you question where you stand for some of these posts. You know, all the posts are going to be done well, but you really just have to question why in the first place. But anyway, on that note, let's jump straight into it. Starting off with, asked my mum for a bedside table lamp for Christmas and received this sassy young lady. Ah yes, of course we got to start off with one that you just really can question, you know. You go, where and who thought up this in the beginning? I get the inspiration about it, you know. You got a nice big fluffy bird on two little chicken legs. So I understand where something like this could come from, and actually I can also see where it would fit in some places, you know, some ultra high-end places just really like this kind of, I don't know what to call it, I guess kind of almost sculptural furnishings. But I'm more questioning the fact that you asked for a bedside table lamp and this is what you received, you know. Unless there is some serious backstory that we're missing, why did your mum think that that was the one to go to out of every single bed lamp in the world? She goes, no, I'm only going to get the fluffy chook on top of these two little chicken legs, and that is going to be exactly the one they're looking for. I would imagine, regardless of whether they're real feathers or not, that it would actually give quite a kind of nice dappled light, or at least it's just a very even light, you know. You're not going to have this column of light down the bottom and up the top from the standard kind of lampshade and whatnot. No, this is just going to be full 360, nice and soft light throughout the entire room. I mean, I guess depending on if this space is sealed or not, you might actually have to be careful because you might just cop a little bit of reflected light off the feet. But hey, I guess if the worst problem you have with your light is that it actually gives off light, well, I think you're going to be alright. And who knows, looking at it, it might even grow on you over time, so I'm sure you'll be fine. I see your giraffe chandelier and raise you a gorilla lamp. So I don't know if I've missed the giraffe chandelier or if it's just further up, but that is one hell of a thing to compare it to. I'm very curious as to where the person has found this, because I can't imagine you've walked into any random lighting store and they just have a gorilla, whatever they called it, a gorilla lamp. I mean, I guess it is a lamp. It doesn't exactly have a lampshade on it, so perhaps it's going to be a little bit bright if you're looking right at it. But again, it is certainly a sculptural kind of furnishing that would go in a high-end home if that is the kind of stylistic choice they're going for. You know, you might even find the giraffe chandelier and the gorilla lamp in the same house if that's the kind of theme they're going for. And really, I guess you could also add the last one considering it is a chicken legs lamp, but I just can't imagine walking into a room and seeing this and being able to keep a straight face, you know. Like I said, you're going, what kind of stylistic choice have you got here where you just got an open bulb just in the middle of nowhere? I get the fact that it's kind of meant to be ripped off and whatnot. I don't really get why it's holding it in its mouth, you know. Surely it's a gorilla. It should be holding it in its hand. It's fairly human in terms of its dexterity. It's not a dog. And also, looking at it further, it almost feels as though it's just a bit off, considering that the gorilla is completely white and uncolored, and then you just have this old brass lamp fixture. It's just kind of a weird combo, I feel. Because I guess I can kind of overlook the fact that it is meant to be a lamp. It is obviously, like I said, a sculptural lamp, but I just really can't see the reasoning behind putting an old brass lamp fixture in this kind of setting. So yeah, I guess overall, as expected, it is well done. You know, you get to see all the detail in the fur and the face and everything. Whether the brass piece is actually real or maybe it's made out of the fiberglass or whatever the gorilla is made of as well. But really, now that I've seen this, I just can't wait to see this giraffe chandelier. Pizza pineapple. Oh yeah, that is something I can get behind. I don't care what you say, Hawaiian is one of the best pizzas out there and you cannot change my mind. Don't get me wrong, there are plenty of good pizzas out there and plenty that I'll have. But for someone to be so outlandish and say that pineapple does not belong on a pizza, that is just ludicrous. But perhaps this is actually something that might be a little bit ludicrous, you know. Like I said, I reckon pineapple does belong on a pizza, but I feel as though to reverse it and put a pizza on a pineapple is almost a little bit too far, and perhaps even a little bit sacrilege towards pizza as a whole. Don't get me wrong, I love the kind of look that it has in terms of the shape has been really well done, and the half-chopped header from the pineapple, all of it looks great, but there really is just something a little bit off-putting about the whole thing. But I almost feel as though something like this you can't judge unless you've actually tried it, you know. It's awful taste but great execution. You obviously can see that it's great execution, but we don't actually know if it is awful taste. You know, there are so many foods that might look the greatest, but actually taste amazing. So I feel as though I just can't judge this on how awful taste it is without actually tasting it. Because who knows, you know, it looks as though it's kind of been built on half a pineapple, so maybe in the cooking process you get all the kind of sugars from the pineapple. It might actually taste incredible. In the same way that I've had this dessert pineapple fall, which is honey and cinnamon coated pineapple, and it is incredible. And I'm fairly sure that is kind of baked on a rotisserie and whatnot, so who knows, maybe a pizza on a pineapple might actually just be an incredible merging of flavors that no one even knew before. Obviously, it's not going to cater to everyone. If you just hate pineapple, if you're one of the lunatics that doesn't even think it belongs on a pizza, this is probably not for you. But for the people with more than 3 brain cells that can actually recognize that pineapple can't belong on a pizza, I reckon this might be something to try. Anyone want a cup of tea? Oh no. Oh, just the color as well. Oh, it looks so bad. Looking at it, I don't even know if it would classify as awful taste but great execution if it wasn't for the additive of the tea, you know. If it wasn't full to the brim and virtually overflowing in brown tea, I just feel as though it just wouldn't have the same impact. But it almost looks as though it could be quite difficult to hold, you know, because usually a mug has a little bit down here that is flat at least, that extends down from the handle so that you can actually rest your other fingers that don't fit in the finger hole. And so I don't really know what you do here. Perhaps it just kind of goes around the edge here, or maybe you can kind of fit it in a groove, but it certainly wouldn't be a conventional style to holding a cup of tea. You might have to learn a little bit of technique just to be able to drink it, let alone the fact that you're just going to have to try and manage around the system and not poke your eye out with the corner here. I mean, but hey, this is a perfect gag gift for someone that is just addicted to tea. It obviously isn't meant to be some high class mug or anything like that. Even though it might turn into someone's favorite mug, it certainly hasn't been designed as a go-to mug, has it? And so really, is it ever going to be awful Awful Taste if it's designed as a gag gift? I think not. I feel as though anything that is self-aware enough to be classified as a gag gift at least kind of gets a pass in this regard. Oh, here we go. Sydney Bus's seat fabric suit. This is going to be lovely. I can't wait. That is disgusting. Look at that thing. I mean, to be honest, even though I just said it's disgusting, I also love it at the same time. It would be so hot and velvety. In that regard, it would be so uncomfortable. But at the same time, if it is brand new fabric, and considering it isn't like the seat next to it and hasn't been sat on by 150,000 people a day, perhaps it would actually be a super soft thing to be in. But my goodness, this is a suit that'll catch a lot of people's eyes because they're going, what the hell am I looking at? I feel as though I recognize that fabric. You know, obviously not in this context where they have all the other bus fabric all around. But if this guy was just walking down the street, everyone would be going, I feel as though I recognize that fabric. Where do I recognize it from? They turn to the person next to them and go, oh my goodness, you're right. It is bus fabric. I mean, but hey, you'll never have to wash the thing because that's the whole thing with this kind of squiggly lines all over the seats. You know, they have it all over the world. That's just why it is usually a texture, is because it hides all the dirt and stains and everything like that. I don't know if everyone in the world takes it to the same degree as Sydney, just kind of putting graffiti and all this kind of texture all over the seats, just so nothing at all will ever show up. But it will certainly work for a seat if you just want to never have to worry about having to wash it. So yeah, whether this guy made the suit or if he's just a model, I feel as though he would have made it. You know, I can't imagine someone going to all the effort of actually making the bus suit and then not being the one to wear it. But even though he doesn't exactly look upset, I can't exactly say that it looks happy with what he's wearing. He's kind of just going, well, I guess this is what I'm wearing at the moment. Just with every pair of eyes that catches him wearing the suit, he just dies a little bit inside that a little bit more. So yeah, I guess my feelings towards this one are very mixed, considering it is obviously not made by a massive fashion brand or anything like that. If it was, it would certainly be in the Awful Taste department. But considering I can only imagine this is a one-off piece and this guy has just done it for whatever reason, I feel as though it almost just slips into the gag gift category. Well, obviously this suit wouldn't really be a gift for anyone, but it is definitely self-aware enough to know what it is. And so I don't know, maybe I'm just biased, but I kind of love it. Memorial for politician erected in Lebanon depicts the moment his SUV was hit by a drone missile. Holy moly, this honestly feels a little bit too deep to talk about. I really don't know much about it, but I can only imagine that it is Memorial to Qassam Soleimani. I also don't know if I completely butcher that name, that's just kind of what I remember hearing. But this one is certainly making me question it the most so far. You know, that is a crazy kind of memorial piece to put together. I wonder if that is actually done by the government or the city or whatever you want to call it, or if that was just kind of done by the people. Even though I don't know if it's better to be done by one or the other, it just certainly feels very left of field compared to a regular memorial. And I also just don't know how well you can really say that it is great execution, you know. Usually memorials are done to the utmost perfection. And I don't know if it's the image not doing it justice, but I really just don't know if I can say that this is Awful Taste of great execution, you know. From whatever the foam is meant to be with the lights in it, I don't know if, like I said, it's just the image, but that kind of just looks like a little plastic toy kind of missile. And then just the icing of the cake of actually having an image of him in the car, it just feels completely wrong. So yeah, I guess I really don't know what to say besides, yeah, I guess it is an unconventional memorial. Obviously someone thought it was a good idea. I don't know if I would have gone down this path, but I guess considering it's a memorial, you know, someone's put time and energy into it, and it really doesn't matter what you think. It's a memorial, and that's all that matters. Joe Exotic's pickup truck limo. How have I not seen this on questionable car mods? That is just horrendous. Look at the length of that thing. Look at that front. I can only imagine that it's a ram it's been stretched, but the size of that is ridiculous. Oh, but actually, I guess it is Joe Exotic, so that's what's on the back here. You know, it's actually a cage for transporting animals, I can only imagine. God, that is just horrible. And not even just the fact that it is Joe Exotic, and I can't exactly agree with what he does, but just the execution of the car with the 6 pixels we have just doesn't give it any favors. Even just down to the size of these mirrors, you know, usually when you have toe mirrors on, they do stick out a little bit further, but look at the length of that arm just to be able to see all the way down the side. That is ridiculous. You're basically just driving the trailer of a semi-trailer around. And also, I don't care who you are and how much money you have, that is just an absolutely abhorrent waste of money, you know. No one should be spending whatever that costs to do that. But actually, I guess even the sign is asking for a pardon for Joe Exotic, considering it is just criminal to do that to a ram, let alone any truck. And I mean, even though this obviously doesn't show us the inside at all, I can only imagine that it's completely gorish and over the top. And so really, regardless of how technically well done it is in terms of finishings and build quality and whatnot, I can only imagine that anything that he lays his finger on is just goes completely over the top, and it certainly fits the Awful Taste department. God bless all my clients, written with hair. Oh, now look, you can't say anything about this one. It has obviously been done for the photo, and it has also obviously been done in a hairdresser. You know, if one place is allowed to do this kind of thing, it is definitely at a hairdresser's. Especially because regardless of the words being made out of hair, which we already established that it's kind of allowed to do because it's a hairdresser's, the entire photo obviously has religious connotations. Because even though the words say God bless all my clients, he might actually kind of have a double meaning where he's saying thank you for all the clients, you know, people being hit hard during COVID. Perhaps he's just praying for the ongoing clientele basis, as well as praying for the direct meaning of God bless all my clients. You know, I can't just sit here and badmouth something that is wholeheartedly meant to be a positive message, not when the medium just adds more context to the entire message it's trying to convey. You know, you can save the badmouthing for the actual questionable post, not something like this, I feel. So yeah, I don't know, maybe you think I'm crazy, but I certainly don't think this is Awful Taste with great execution. Predator beard. Wow, look at that. That is actually really really well done. I can't imagine how much time and gel that would take to actually be able to get that kind of leverage on it, and then for it to just hold this 90-degree corner of the facehugger leg. But see, this is the kind of thing I come here for, not for anything that is actually a serious matter, just for kind of stupid things like this, whether it be the toilet mug or just a facehugger beard. I just love that kind of stuff. Because really, you also have to give props to the guy for actually growing his beard out to that length, you know. It would be, what, I don't know, 25 centimeters long. That is a massive beard to be able to grow out, and then to turn it into this for a little kind of gag or whatnot, I reckon that is pretty good. I mean, I guess I've said it a million times, I love to be the devil's advocate, but I feel as though this one is definitely the most awful taste so far. The only way I can see someone actually realistically doing this is if they actually just paired it up with a Halloween costume or something like that. As cool as it may be, no one is just going to be walking around like that all day, every day. I think what I'm most disappointed about though is that they didn't do something with his hair. It's just such a missed opportunity to incorporate something into the hair as well. You know, obviously you would have to grow it out, but if they could have done something where it's just kind of latching on the side of his head, that would have been awesome. Then I don't even know if it would have qualified as all for taste, but at least then it would have just completed the whole look and it would have been amazing to see. And you know, this guy's obviously proved that he can grow his hair, so you know, a little bit more on top and it would have been the whole hog. But hey, I guess as we are finally getting towards the top post, at least it is actually delivering quality posts like this. And now for the top of the month for Awful Taste but Great Execution, it is I See Your Flamingo Lamp and raise you a $6,500 life-size horse lamp. Now, I've definitely seen this before. I don't know where. Actually, I'm fairly sure Logan Paul bought one of these and he completely painted the hell out of it. But yes, it is certainly a questionable thing to have in your house because it just takes up so much room. You know, considering it's a replica, it is an entirely horse size. And even though that one doesn't look as though it is a particularly big horse, it is certainly just going to have some serious scale to it when you just put it in a room, you know. It's not as though horses just walk through houses all the time because there's just so much room for them. No, they're going to take the entire room up floor to ceiling. But no, obviously we've missed a whole bundle of lamps and lampshades and lights and everything because we had the gorilla that mentioned the giraffe, we have this horse that mentioned the flamingo, even the first post was that chicken leg. So obviously this entire sub just turns into a random lights and lamps sub. Looking at it though, I am very curious about how they've actually managed to power it, because unless there's a cable hiding behind this chair leg, there is no way for it to kind of get out and be concealed. I mean, perhaps there's been a bit of Photoshop involved, that could also very much well be the case, but considering you're spending $6,500 on a lamp, surely it has to be functional. There has to be some kind of wire somewhere. It's not as though it's just going to be battery powered. I mean, perhaps actually that's what you're paying for. You're paying for a battery or even just a magic horse lamp. You know, just completely self-powered and self-managing. You would never have to worry about this lamp again. If that is the case, I can almost see why you can justify $6,500 for one light. But I'm sorry, if it doesn't meet that criteria, I can comfortably say that it is definitely Awful Taste but Great Execution. But anyway, that is going to do it for the top post of Awful Taste but Great Execution. So thank you for watching. If you did enjoy the video, feel free to do the YouTube analytical things down below. Other than that, you know, we see plenty of posts all over Reddit that I reckon would fit perfectly on this sub, so make sure you check those videos out. Or maybe you just want to consider subscribing so I don't miss another one in the future. But all in all, have a good one and see ya.